Well, we got Tobin Bell back in a Saw movie. Play the clip.
There will be blood.
Hello. You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game. There is only one key to open the device. It's in the stomach of your dead cellmate. You better hurry up. Live or die. Make your choice.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome to my spoiler-free review of Saw 10. This was directed by Kevin Grutert. Again, still struggling on this man's name. And this is the 10th, count them, 10th, Saw movie in the book of Saw. And just a cheap plug, I've covered every other Saw movie. Playlist link in the eye in the right-hand corner. If you have not checked it out, please do. Essentially taking place between Saw 1 and Saw 2, this movie picks up with John Kramer, reprised by Tobin Bell, basically learning that his cancer has not improved and has gotten worse. And so, in an act of desperation, he discovers a very sketch-looking operation that combines drugs with surgery to maybe cure his cancer. It doesn't, and obvious scam is very obvious, and I'm sure you can figure out the rest from there. John Kramer basically does his jigsaw thing, and some people get hurt. Like, really, really hurt. The Saw movies have been surprisingly consistent in their quality, in my opinion, at least. I can name series that are far more famous than Saw that have had steeper peaks and it had higher peaks and lower valleys than that of Saw, like Star Wars, Star Trek, those come to mind. Other horror series like Halloween, Friday the 13th, other things like that. But Saw, with the exception of Jigsaw and Saw 5, there have really been no bad ones, and that's honestly kind of admirable. For a series that's essentially derided as torture porn, there's actually a lot of good in there as well. And I can understand why these movies wouldn't be for everyone. These are very tough movies, especially considering the body count. But it's a series that I have an odd amount of respect for. And when I heard that Saw 10 was coming out, I was thinking, what else can they do with this? I mean, Spiral kind of left the series in a good place with Detective Banks and seeing what he would do next, and especially Detective Shank. But this was going to be a prequel taking place between Saw 1 and 2. I was cautiously optimistic, to say the least. But I can honestly sit here and say that this movie is as good as the reviews have said so. And this movie has gotten some really good reviews. Like, even non-horror reviewers, like people who literally say in their review, I'm not a fan of this series, but in their next sentence, they always say some version of, I liked this movie. I have a great deal of love and appreciation for the Saw movies, and yeah, I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. First and foremost, Tobin Bell always crushes it in this role, and he is no different here. The movie does, I think, a really good thing by focusing it up on John Kramer and kind of looking into why he is doing the things that he is doing, and presenting scenarios in which he really honestly tried to do the right thing, but he was completely just shunted every single time. So obviously don't agree with his methods, but it's a weird thing to where you can, well, play the clip.
There is logic in what he says.
Especially considering some of the people he puts in his games, especially in some of the movies. Oh boy, yeah, I mean, John Kramer's a bad dude, but it can always get worse. The players in Jigsaw's games vary from sympathetic but still problematic people to they don't even belong in hell. They belong, like, somewhere else that even the devil doesn't even want to go to. And the players in this particular game in Saw 10, they belong in that latter category. You grow to hate these people really quick, especially when you learn the motivations of the ringleader behind it. Oh boy. Yeah, this movie does a really good job of making you feel kind of sorry for John Kramer, but also hating the players in the game. Shawnee Smith returns as Amanda. It's always nice to see her, and it was nice to see her in this movie. I liked what they did with her, and I liked how complex she is, kind of planting the seeds for what would end up happening in Saw 3, with the whole maybe she's not meant to be the heir to the Jigsaw Empire and continue his work. Maybe it was supposed to be Hoffman this whole time. The movie doesn't give you an easy answer in that regard, but in the regards of treating Amanda like the big deal that she is, the movie does so in spades. Because this is a Saw movie, there are traps, and yeah, the traps in this movie, they get pretty gruesome, all right. I think Kevin Grutert has some of the more vicious traps in the Saw movies. And honestly, despite the fact that the latter Saw movies, like Saw 5, 6, and the final chapter, are not the best, the traps at the very least, they're the most wince-inducing, and that goes double for Saw 10. There are some in this movie where I was just like, ooh, yeah, that's kind of screwed up. That probably the most gruesome trap in the movie is, you see it in the trailer, but the dude with the saw and he's trying to cut at his brain. Trust me, the trailer does not do that trap justice. What happens to that guy, oh boy, it's rough stuff. While I do love this movie, I do have a couple of problems. They don't kill the movie for me, but overall, I wasn't a big fan of a couple of things. Number one, it's a small thing. This movie is supposed to take place between Saw 1 and 2, as far as I am told. Saw 1 came out in 2004, so let's just assume this movie takes place in 2005 or 6. Why are there flat screen TVs in this universe? There's a scene where I see flat screen TVs, and then in later scenes where there are the old block, like thick as a brick TVs. I was just sitting there thinking to myself, pick a lane, guys. Like, keep the technology consistent. They should have flip phones. They should have like iPods, like not iPhones, but like the brick iPods. I'm just saying, keep it consistent. Like, flat screen TV should not have been a thing in the early to mid 2000s, unless they were, and I completely missed it, but I was alive then, and I don't remember them being around. So, small gripe, but it doesn't kill the movie for me. My biggest problem with the movie, and again, similar to what I just talked about, it doesn't totally destroy the movie for me. It hampered my enjoyment just a little bit, and that's the length. The movie is nearly 2 hours long, and the Saw movies really work when they're kept at just about 90 minutes, maybe an hour 40. Feel like an hour 50, 2 hours is pushing it. And I feel like they were trying to sell us on the idea that John Kramer believes he's cured, but then he realizes, oh crap, the obvious scam is obvious, and then he flips out. I don't know, in that moment, it just made John Kramer look kind of dumb. But that's just me. I feel like if they made the movie just an hour and 40 or an hour 45 minutes, it would have been perfect length. Shave 10 minutes off, it would have been fine. But overall, for the 10th movie in a horror franchise, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to give this a great rating. Again, I do have problems with the movie, but they're small in the grand scheme of things. I would argue this is one of the best of the franchise. I'd easily put this up with Saw 1, 2, and even Saw 3. Like, Saw 1, 2, 3, and 10. I think those are the cream of the crop of this series. I have no idea what Twisted Pictures is going to do next, because I don't know if this movie is going to make its money back. I honestly don't know. But if they do more of these movies, I'd like to see what they do next. Don't disregard Spiral, though. Please and thank you. That is all I will say on that. But have you seen Saw 10? What did you think? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. Subscribe to this channel. Click the bell to allow notifications. And, well, what else is there to say but Scary Mania begins tomorrow. hit the intro.